a brand new, fresh fortnightly feature airing on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. House guests will showcase a cadre of professionals from doctors and entrepreneurs to the next door friendly neighbor. So tune in as we network the community with a platform for open, frank, and informative discussion. Only on Supra FM, your community radio station.
Eighty-eight point five Surf FM is now 11 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. in Surface and Lucia and, of course, the Eastern Caribbean. Good morning to all those of you locking down. Welcome inside another edition of House Guests. And it's Wednesday, the 25th of October, 2023. In studio with me is Inspector Kimroy, Renee. And it's a pleasure to have you joining us back here. And a lot of persons are curious, actually, to know what the traffic plan is all about for that mass event happening on Sunday the 29th, which is called La Place KWEYOL. Good morning. Once again, welcome.
Good morning, Cabrina. Good morning to everyone.
It's a pleasure, as I did say, to have you join us here. For persons who are not too familiar with who you are, just present us with a description.
Okay, good morning. I am Kimroy Renee, Inspector of Police. I am presently the inspector in charge of both Soufrière and Choiseul. I am, from a police perspective, I am fairly new to the Soufrière community, Soufrière Choiseul, having taken up office in July of this year. However, I am not new to the constituency. I am a Soufrièran by birth, born and raised, and I have spent most of my life within that area. So I just want to say thank everyone for having me here. It is indeed a pleasure. And it is important that we educate the public, because one of the ethos of our policing strategy is creating partnership, creating synergies with the members of the public, and always keeping them informed as to what decision we as a police department will take. That will, one, benefit them, and secondly, that may affect them. And I know everyone is looking forward to the main Creole Day event, which will be held on Sunday, the 29th of October. We all have had a preview of what to expect in Soufrière, because over the past 4 weeks, we have been hosting a number of community events, showcasing Creole activities, Creole events within all the communities. And the police have played a very important role in terms of ensuring that every single one person comes to this event enjoying themselves, having fun, and not having to be concerned about security and safety, as we know that this is paramount in the minds of every St. Lucian today.
Thank you so much. With that being said, in an earlier discussion, you did mention in terms of having at least 100 plus officers to help with the smooth flow of traffic.
Yes,
Walk
well,
us through the traffic plan, the routes, the do's and don'ts.
yes. For some persons, 100 police officers will sound like a large number of officers, but we would appreciate that the event starts from 5 a.m. and is due to last until 8 p.m. on Sunday. So as a result, it would be unfair, as a manager, of personnel, really, to allow persons to work from 5 in the morning, and understanding that the event starts at 5. So we have to be in there from 4, and that persons who may have to leave their home from 3 a.m. to get to Soufrière, so that we could start on time, we could be in position on time, because we are supposed to be the first there and the last to leave. So those persons would now, even though the event ends at 8, the police have to stay around to coordinate traffic, and we may leave there maybe beyond 10 p.m. So as a result, we have reviewed what is needed, the requirements, and we have decided that, you know what, the best option would break the shifts down, have persons work half of the day while another shift work the second half of the day. So that is what really required the large number of officers. So we're gonna have certain numbers in the morning and a certain number of persons in the afternoon. You would appreciate that we anticipate that the afternoon will have the bulk of persons traversing. So as a result, you would need a lot of officers there. The activity is being held at the Sufre Mini Stadium, and that has its pros and its cons from a traffic management security perspective. And all that would add up to why we have requested the numbers of police officers we have. The pros for us is that it is away from the main flow of traffic through the town of Sufre. So what we will not have is the level of congestion within the town. We won't have the problem with persons who are traversing the area but not planning to actually attend the event should not be affected. So that is a positive for us. It's a positive for the road users who do not plan to attend the event. However, the event will be held away from the town. The mini stadium is a pretty large area which will require a real coordinated effort to ensure that the flow of personnel and traffic is done meticulously and is done smoothly without any disruptions, any risk to any persons. So as a result, we have reviewed, we have done our walkthroughs, we have done our assessments, and as a result have developed both a security and traffic plan for that area. For persons who are familiar with the mini stadium, we would understand that it is located between Palmis and new development communities. And it is, our intention is to ensure the smooth movement of vehicular traffic on our streets and of personnel during the event, so that the event can be one where persons come to enjoy themselves and not worry about safety and security, or where drunk persons driving among them, or that kind of thing to create any discomfort. So what we have done is we have allowed 2 main entrances to the event. However, that will be controlled by law enforcement. And what we have also done is to prevent vehicular traffic into the main area where the activity will be held. So as a result, we have decided to use 2 main access points to the mini stadium. The first one will be from the fire service junction, Lower Palmis Road, Fobenye Fire Service Road. That route heading north towards the mini stadium. Vehicles will be allowed to enter through there and drive to the event. Persons can disembark at that area, and parking, we will be converting that road on that day into a one-way traffic route. So vehicles will only be allowed to enter through the fire service junction, and no vehicle will be allowed to exit. Because the road is naturally a dual carriageway, but we will be converting it into a single lane traffic carriageway. We will allow one side of the road for parking, so persons can utilize that one side to park their vehicle. However, when you get to the entrance to the Sufre Infant and Primary School, there will be a no entry sign at that point. So you will not be able to drive into new development from the Lower Palmis Road. But that whole large space by the old copper factory, by where the former spoon bakery used to be, will be also used for parking. We believe that area is pretty large enough to facilitate the accommodation of a number of vehicles. In terms of exit now, persons will be allowed to utilize the Palmis Road, and that road again will be converted into a one-way traffic route. So then you could follow that route and head out for the Castries Sufre Highway, and then you could you could decide whether you want to go north or south, wherever you want to go to get to your destination. But vehicles will be allowed to only exit through that entrance. There will be no entry at the top of the Palmis Road, and it will be manned by police officers. No vehicles will be allowed to go down that route. So there will also be relevant no parking signs on one side of the road to allow the free flow of traffic, and no disturbance or no kind of obstruction to the free flow of traffic on that day. So we urge members of the Palmis area, will be erecting signs early enough, but we urge residents of that area to understand that parking will only be permitted in one area, and persons who are going to park, they should not park in areas that will cause an obstruction to the flow of traffic. Because if on that day our officers during their patrols observe that somebody is not considerate, certain decisions may be taken that will not be in the best interest of the owner or driver of that vehicle. So we just want to encourage persons to keep in mind that when they're going to park their vehicles, I know we like convenience and to park by a house, but if parking by your house will create an inconvenience to the flow of traffic, then the police has the responsibility and the right to take whatever action that is necessary. So as a result, that route will be used for only exit out of Soufrière. So if you Palmis, do come back down towards the Lower Palmis Factory Road. Continue, if you're getting out of the community, you could just head through the Castries Highway and go to wherever you want to go. Also, the Forbenier area, the minor roads in there, vehicles will not be allowed to enter onto the Forbenier Palmis High Road. So that vehicles will only follow one route out. So you could come out through by the cemetery, all those small exits. All of those will be utilized only as exits. So by Talk to Me area, that will be used as an exit. You will not be allowed to enter in there. By the minor roads along the cemetery road will be used only as exits, because what we don't want is any bottleneck, one person trying to enter, one trying to exit. So we just want the traffic to flow smoothly from that perspective. So it is important for persons to understand that they understand that all those minor roads, it can be utilized. It can be utilized for parking also, and then from there you could walk to the main event. But you need to park in a way that will not cause an obstruction and will not interfere with the smooth flow of traffic. So that is the first major entry and exit from the event. The secondary route that will be used for access to the area is the La Pearl Foster Jack High Road. So from Marcy, La Pearl, vehicles will be allowed to enter into new development. That road again will be converted into one-way traffic. So persons cannot exit from the new development proper out for that road. You'll be allowed to follow the main new development road that heads to the northern end of the mini stadium. At that point, again, a no entry will be erected at the northern end of the mini stadium, which leads to the concrete roads to the northern end of the mini stadium. From there, vehicles will be allowed to do the round around the circuit of the development, that main road, that main concrete road. And that road takes you to the back of Marcy. And from there now, you will be allowed to exit through the Lapole Junction. So that part between that Marcy back road and the Lapole main entrance, that short part will be allowed to be dual-way carriage. But beyond that junction into the development will be one-way traffic. So for the residents of the development, please do not try to get out of the development using the new development road through Marcy. What you should do, continue towards the stadium, follow the road, follow the signs, go around, and then exit through the back of the Marcy area and back onto the Lapole Foster Jack Highway. From there, you could choose to proceed if you want to go for Fort Saint-Jacques. If you don't want to go into the traffic that will be in town, exit for Fort Saint-Jacques onto Myers Bridge, or if you want to go head back into town, you could do that at your convenience. So for us, those are the main areas that we need to police. Again, that route, because it's going to be one-way traffic, and naturally it's a dual carriageway, one side of the road will be utilized for parking, so persons can park along that route and then walk to the event. Again, the other communities in Soufrière, Wingsville, can be utilized for parking, and persons can walk to the event. We believe that Creole Day is a day where we should put aside, the convenience and engage in what our foreparents used to do, which was walking. So it will help with generating that Creole culture. Creole is not only about eating and drinking the Creole food and the clothes, but also doing what the practices that were being done back in the days, which was a lot of walking. So persons are encouraged to walk. It is our responsibility to try to keep persons' vehicles safe, and we will try our best. And now you would understand why we need so many officers, because parking is not centralized. So we would need to be able to have officers patrolling those streets where vehicles will be parked, so that to ensure that persons' vehicles remain safe on that day. So now you will begin to understand why our numbers are the numbers that were requested. It's because there have been a comprehensive assessment of what the needs are for that day in question.
Thank you for that clarification, because again, in a conversation we had, I'm saying, but that's crazy, too many officers. But now that you've actually detailed the traffic plan and the officers, and I think a lot of the times what we've seen, as much as you presented that traffic plan on the given day, sometimes you have to allow room for failures, mishaps, persons not adhering as well. So I think proper signage is of the essence as well, and having the officers placed specifically in those areas.
Yes, signage is important because what you will have on that day in question is a lot of persons who are not from Soufrière traversing the Soufrière road, and they would not have a knowledge of which roads are one ways, where they cannot do no left turn, where they can turn right, and they would need people to guide them and direct them. We have a comprehensive plan to put up proper signs and marking in the Soufrière area. We have done the assessment. I was hoping that everything would have been in place before this event. However, unfortunately, it has not materialized that yet. So this is something that we will be pushing to do. So at the end of the day, we understand that persons who are not from the area, we are a touristic community, a lot of foreigners traverse our road, and proper signage would guide them in maneuvering safely through the town and the areas within the town.
Okay, there you have actually shared with us in terms of the traffic control and patrol. Let's hear about the security inside the stadium as well.
Yes, well, and again, it goes back to the point that we need as many officers as possible. What I can applaud my divisional commander on is that this event has been approach from a divisional level, whereas you will hear the traffic plan for Soufrière Carnival, Soufrière KWEYOL. The activities and the planning is, from a law enforcement perspective, is being done at a divisional level, and as a result, we are tapping into resources from all the stations and departments within the division. So we're gonna take persons as far as Mico down to view Fort Labrish was to support Soufrière on that day. And most importantly, we are going to have personnel from our special services unit, the SSU, who would be on hand to engage in law enforcement activities. Now, it's never good to, as a strategist in law enforcement, to detail what exactly you are going to do. But I could assure members of the public that the police will be utilizing strategies and systems to, one, profile who our troublemakers are, and that for us to deal with them appropriately is not my duty at this point in time to detail, so at least people can begin to prepare. But, there must always be an element of surprise. There may be some inconvenience to genuine persons who are coming to the event, but it is our responsibility to ensure that this event is hosted safely. And just like Carnival, everybody can come and have a fun time, enjoy themselves, enjoy the ambience that Soufrière provides, and that they now could get to their home safely, not having to worry about any level of insecurity while they are in our care in Soufrière. And I think this is one of the key things that we want to drive, that we want to keep Soufrière, safe. We want to keep Soufrière a place that is tranquil, that, hey, it's a place where you could decide, hey, I want to come to a lime in an area that is, visitor friendly, and that is what we want to encourage as a police department, that any element that we believe will compromise that image that we are attempting to portray, they shall be dealt with appropriately.
Definitely so. And even given the fact that we've seen the decentralization as well, we will see an influx from countries to Sufre and Sufre to countries.
Yes, this is one of the challenges that we predict. When you do an assessment, you do your risk, you look at your vulnerabilities, you look at your threats, and you look at the challenges that you face. And given that those two areas are within close proximity, we anticipate that there will be an influx of the flow of traffic along that route. And what I could also say, Sufra is the most beautiful, picturesque community, and everybody wants to come to that area. So we will basically flop countries. So I expect there to be this influx of persons and vehicles within, so that makes our job a little more complicated. But at the end of the day, my principle is you deal with what you are faced with on the day, what you have no control over. So it's our job as the division to manage this and to manage it effectively. And I promise the public that we will do everything within our power to ensure that this is done.
And I'm happy you're saying that. Rest assured, I know the police will do a magnificent job with not only the flow of traffic, but readiness of any criminal mishaps. I am excited to ask you, actually, interestingly, what are your views with the whole rebranding of RSLPF? Again, we've had discussions.
Yes. It is something that it's always important from a business management perspective that you evaluate. And if anybody who's familiar with the mission and vision of the Royal Ship Police Force would understand that our vision is to work in partnership with the public and also provide a professional policing service. Now, it is important that you ever so often review your strategic plan, review what you want to accomplish. You need to appreciate whether we are accomplishing or achieving what our vision, our mission states. And then based on that, you decide, hey, whether you are going to continue with the status quo or whether you want to change or whether you want to reevaluate. And that's all that is part of management. Like any corporate business, the police force has a management which looks at its community relations aspect, which looked at its marketing, which look at its image as an organization, one that speaks of discipline, one that speaks of commitment, one that speaks of devotion. I tell people policing is not something it's not a job. And anybody who believes policing is a job, then you are coming into the wrong job, because either you'll be disappointed, you will disappoint the people who employ you, and you'll create a bad image for the organization that you represent. Policing is a vocation, and whenever you choose to be a police officer, you have to stick by the core principles of policing, the standards that are set. So I believe rebranding the police force is something that's needed. It's something that we always do. I remember joining the police force, and at that point we were going through a major restructuring, system, and every 5 to 10 years you need to reevaluate and look at what do you need to change, what new do you need to bring to the table, how you need to is the relations or the image that you're portraying, is it the best in the current environment, and how do you meet the needs of the current people you serve? We must understand the demographics and the dynamics of our societies are changing, and people are expecting and demanding more from the police that has vowed to serve and protect them. So I welcome the rebranding. I think it's exciting times. I like to hear those kind of discussions, because it really tells me that we are doing a critical assessment of ourselves as an organization, and we are seeing the failures. We are listening to the public who are saying, hey, we are not happy with certain things, we are not satisfied, we want to see a difference, we want to see a change, and can you put systems and mechanisms in place to do that? So I think rebranding is what the public sees, but I think there's quite a bit happening in the background, and that's what strategic plan is about. You let the public know what you want them to know, but there is a lot happening in the background that they will not know, but it's all an effort to provide a better service to them, to make life easier, safer for them. So it is something I'm looking forward to. I don't want to speak too much about it because that's for the policymakers at executive level to discuss, but it is something that I think I welcome, and I think it will resonate positively for every St. Lucia.
The ticklish question, Inspector, what would you like to see under your watch? We know you man Sofre and Schwezel.
Well, for me, my prior attachment was one that required, a robust type of policing where there was strong synergies between the police and the public that we serve, and not just the citizens, but also the business community. That adds so much value to your policing strategy when you have the business community, working closely with you and understanding what your goals are. For me, I am a resident of Soufrière, and for me, I need to keep my community safe. So you would have seen that there have been a significant increase in the police presence on the road, traffic checks, operations. And for me, it is one of the things I want to build on even more. We want to see a more aggressive type of policing. Aggressive in that we are not maliciously targeting anybody, but those persons who are bent on making life difficult for the people, that we are going to focus on you, we're going to target you, and we are going to make you understand that there is no place for this kind of activity in Soufrière. We see what happens in some of the other communities, and at no point in time will I allow this under my watch to happen within the Soufrière community. So that's why it is my intention to make recommendations for the relevant resources for the community. I think anybody who knows St. Lucia would understand that Soufrière is, the breadbasket when it comes to advertising our tourism product, when it comes to people visiting. And I think the necessary investment needs to be made in that community to ensure that we leave it as tranquil, we leave it as, safe as possible for not just persons visiting, but also the persons who reside within that community. As much as I would like to say I want that for the entire island, but Soufrière is my priority now, and I put all my effort and energy to ensure that this happens.
Could you maybe bring us to speed in terms of community policing? How has that been received, if at all it has commenced? I'm not too sure. And I want you to speak on what we've seen happening lately with all that loitering, with the kids and all those things. I know the police used to be challenged, where our entity and the police have had numerous meetings to address such.
Yeah. Again, the community policing, for me, we have a community relation branch, and which we would say, and for me, they are the face of our community policing ethos. But every police officer is supposed to be a community relations officer. There's supposed to be the confidence in that police that I could have a discussion with you. I could tell you about something. You could come to me and ask me what my problems, what my challenges are. Every police officer is supposed to be inculcated into the minds and hearts of every police officer from the time he or she enters the police training academy, that policing is not about aggressive enforcement, but also working with the people, because that is that's your customer. The public is our customer, and we must provide a customer service that is beyond no other. So customer service requires proper relations, and building partnership, building relations is key to our policing effort. We could utilize all the technologies, and I know we watch a lot of James Bond, so we believe we know what the intelligence tools are and how intelligence is done. But the most valuable tool in intelligence is what we call human intelligence. It's the people you interact on a daily basis. They are the ones who see, who hear, who know. And if you could tap into that, you don't need to, if you have a comprehensive approach to working with your community, you will not need to invest in all the technology. Because you must understand what the technology is. The technology is designed to assist you with gathering the information. So why would you need the technology if you have the source of the information, which is the people? So that is why every police officer must conduct his or herself in a manner that people have confidence in them, that people trust them, people respect them, and people have the confidence that, hey, if at any point in time there's a discussion between them, that this discussion will be action, one, and two, the source of the information will remain confidential, right? Because I hate quite
Highlighted, confidential.
yes,
We have a problem with that.
I have heard it. I have heard it quite a lot that persons feel that the police, that they believe that there are certain persons within the police force who do not know how to manage information. And information management is a critical part of policing, it's a critical part of community policing, in that if I give you information, you must know how to manage it. That you know that this is between me and you, and it's not between me, you, and your girlfriend, or me, you, and your friend, or me, you, and anybody that you believe is an associate of yours. So those are the things, the kind of training that we need to instill in our police officers. We need to let the public know that those are the kind of discussions we are having at this point with our officers, that we know our community is one that is small. Everybody knows everybody, so, in our society. And that's a challenge of working in a small society. Everybody knows everybody, and the police officer's brother or sister may be friend to some of, the most troublesome person in your society. And then everybody knows everybody. And as a result, it can be easy for information to inadvertently, may not be intentionally, but inadvertently be disclosed and reach a source that was not intended for, if you don't know how to manage that information properly. So this is something I've learned, and this is something the police force have understood, and this is a discussion that we are having. We need to instill in the minds of hearts of police officers that information management is key to your community relation. Somebody tells you something, it's between you and your source. You never disclose your source. And sometimes it's taken so just trying to get the right word. It is so important that you manage your information and you keep your source confidential. Like, even whether the commissioner of police require that, hey, I want to know, where did you get information? And you tell them, you know what, sir, with all due respect, I think this information is between me and my source, me and my friend, or whoever the person is. And at this point, for his or her safety, I don't think I should disclose it. And it is so important that even our criminal code makes the provision that even if the police acts on information provided to the public, by the public to the police, and the police actions that, and there is an arrest, that even if the defense lawyer challenges the court that, hey, I need to know where that information came from, because did the police just out of the blue target, Miss Cabrina, did they just choose that today that we're going to go to her house and conduct a search? I need to know where that information came from. That the criminal code gives us the power to apply to the judge and say, hey, we are protecting the information that is at our disposal. As a result, we are asking for an order from the judge to not disclose that information. So it just shows you how much systems have been put in place to protect, the information that we receive during our investigation. Do you guys have witness protection? Yes, we do. But the purpose of this meeting is supposed to be a traffic plan. So I don't want to go into details, on police operations and investigations. But I could tell you that the police do have a witness protection program that, where we have quite a few persons who have been given this service. And witness protection is something that is a lot more complicated than we believe it is, because you would understand that you would need to relocate somebody, send them to a whole new environment, and when you do that, you're not just affecting the individual, but you're affecting the individual, his family, friends, and everyone close to him or her. So you need to factor that when you are choosing to put somebody in a witness protection program. That person also need to understand that it's a whole new different life for him or her, because it's pointless that you want witness protection. Social media has made life, so interconnected that you post in all your pictures of where you are doing this and doing that, and you still have the same friends that you had prior to you going on witness protection. So it is a very complicated situation, but it's something that we work actively and we support as a police force.
Thank you, Inspector. It is now 15 minutes moving up to the hour of 11 a.m. in Surfers St. Lucia and the Eastern Caribbean. It has been quite an interesting conversation, and it's Creole Heritage Month, and unfortunately, we should have had that dialogue in Creole, but I'm struggling with the dialect. At this very moment, I would love for you to, if you have any final points you want to leave to the listening audience, and just a short run through as to what is expected on Sunday.
Okay,
Just
Cabrina.
to
Udi
summarize.
uka ni difficulty pali Creole la, mais makwe maka ni difficulty, so maka try di samen pou di en Creole. Kon nou di, nou ka celebre jeune Creole, et puis go activité a ki ka nou ka chebe, nou ka chen dimanche li 29 octobre. A Ministerium Soufouye a. Kon nou di pli bonne a, dat nou kay kontrole mouvment machin et moun, et nou kay servi de chimè pour faciliter ça. Première kay from fire service la, station di fe bon cimetière, chimè ça nou kay changer pour yon flow, yon direction machin kay traverse, yon direction from là pour ministérium ebden yo kay exiter fou chimè palmis là. Même manière chimè l'appel de développement bon marché là, nous kay servi ça pour machine entrer en dernier développement ebden pour descendre nord ministérium et puis kay continuer les chimè concrète là kay won de développement et vie sorti en direction l'appel. Machine nous pas chimè machine kay ça pas quand les yon ça chimè hein. Et puis la kay ni sign c'est kay do côté où ça pak koto pa kay pak nous kay ni en rodi en sans police en jour ça là pour faire moun comprendre that ça pas bay blague là la sécurité important et tout le monde kay venir bon temps ni bonne fête créole en jour ça là so moi veut tout le monde venir travailler ces police là parce que nous savons de les moun kay vle aller la kayo qui te kayo et puis ha habitué puis yon chemin yon route mais nous kay dou non ou pas ça passer la rodia so sou vle entrer ou ni pour passer faut et puis suivre chemin ça là ou pas ça vie entrer flou là ou pas entrer flou là mais ça c'est pour empêcher pièce qualité manger cochon fait les venir pour trafic cause nous comprendre qualité moun na kay la qualité machine na kay la tout le monde cette liste des machines pour kay yo so yo ka aller yo ka mener yon machine yo ka vie pour l'autre machine so low activité là ni plus machine passer moun so nous kay comprendre that comprendre la kay ni un shy moun un shy activité so nous voulons contrôler ça nous ka dit travailler puis nous supporter police là cause travail police c'est pour supporter vous et pour faire sure that tout le monde y a bon fête créole dimanche. So, je dis tout le monde merci pour l'opportunité. Et je dis bonne fête créole pour tout le monde. Merci.
Merci, Inspector. There's no room for me to say your final comments because you did say everything nice and sweet. Any encouragement you want to put out there?
Yeah, for me, I encourage everybody to work with the police. I encourage everybody to come out and trust the police. Encourage persons to give information because sometimes we say we do not want to speak to the police because of the concerns that we have. But I believe that you need to find a police officer that you trust. I put myself in a position to try to be as confidential as possible. So I'm available if anybody has sensitive information that they need the police to know, that they could come, and I could guarantee that we will action it. Because at the end of the day, this is our society. I may be a police officer today, but 10, 15 years down the line, I will be a civilian again. And then I would want to be safe. I want to enjoy my retirement. I want the community to be safe, and every single St. Lucian should think the same. Whether or not you live here or you don't, you will want to come back on vacation. You will want your family here to remain safe and enjoy the country. So it is your responsibility to provide, information that will help control or that for you to contribute towards the safe, running of this country. So I encourage persons. We have the crime tip line 555. And the crime tip line does not replace the 999 for emergency. The crime tip line is supposed to be for actionable, sensitive information that you would not traditionally share to any police officer. You want to remain anonymous. You don't want to know who your identity is, but you have sensitive information: drugs, firearms, a child being abused, something that requires an urgent action. So that is what it does not replace 999 or 911 where there's a traffic accident and you want the police to respond to that, or you're following up on some minor event that you reported to the police. So I would appreciate that you share that information with them. It's toll free, and there is always, I could guarantee you, there is always an officer there to take your call and to action the information that you provide.
This time is why I say thank you so much, Inspector, for joining me here and facilitating this program. Most importantly, detailing the traffic plan for Sunday. I also want to extend. It's a pleasure to always have you here, and it is a continued conversation where there is so much to speak about, but we will do so in the near future. That is in terms of crime, as you made mention of, policing, various operations. I will extend my courtesies. Thank you so much for gracing me here. Time is of the essence for each and every one of us. To our listeners, I say thank you so much for tuning in. To you who joined virtually as well, thank you so much. Indeed, it has been a lovely discussion. This is where we ended for today, the 25th of October, 2023. I say to you, have a blessed and productive one. We're out.